heritage use at the moment. It leaves a lot of debris behind, and dead foliage, and an awful lot of people complain to me all the time about it because it's growing between the paving stones, so it's causing further deterioration of really poor paving. I know that's not our responsibility, but the thing is, it's quite dangerous, and I just think we need to balance, it being green and being eco-conscious with the actual safety of our residents and people using the streets as well, because nobody clears away the debris after the weeds have been killed with the, what is it, foam that's supposed to dissolve them, because it doesn't dissolve them, does it? It just leaves them lying there dead. So I just wondered how you can balance that out, please.
That's a part of our contract. That's the only area Eastbourne Borough Council use to offset on behalf of East Sussex County Council. East Sussex provides with one application, cost for one application. We do that one application. But that isn't part of the only contract at all. It's to do with CISL. So not directly to do that. No, it's not only no, I said it's not only the contract. That's CISL run that contract directly with regards to weeds on highway pavements. So that's not to do with the ground maintenance contract.
I just wanted to add the point that I know Brighton Council actually had the same policy, didn't they? And they changed it because it was so dangerous. The pavements were so dangerous, overgrown, and with dead foliage, that they actually changed their contract recently. And are using something, I don't think they're using glyphosate or anything like that, but they're using something a bit more potent because of the safety issues. And I just think that's quite important as well.
Yeah, I agree, but it's not within the ground maintenance contract, so I can't offer much more than what I know.
Thank you.
Councillor Ballard, and then you back, and it's
Hi, my understanding is that we are looking at East Sussex County Council's agreement with the Borough Council on the glyphosate spray, because we used to subsidise the paving treatments, and we can no longer afford to do it. So whether or not the contract is viable with East Sussex County Council is now up for question. Do you know anything about that?
I do. I didn't know whether Lee Banner was coming to see his hand up, so I thought that Lee Banner could come.
we can't hear you, Lee. Just bear with us a second. Once again.
Can we go to the next item, because we've got Oliver here, and we'll try and sort this out, and then maybe we can go back to this item. Is that possible?
I'm sure it is. So if you bear with us, Lee, thank you very much. And would you please just stay on for a little while longer? Thank you. We move on to the next item. Oliver.
Sorry, before we do this, can I just check everyone's got their laptops and microphones off? You know, using the laptop in the room. Okay.
Sorry, it's too bright. It's the fire exit one, Nick. Otherwise, I'll just move to one side. Yeah. It's the top window on the door. Like having a torch on your face. You're okay there, Julie. Do you want to move as well?
You might want to move the.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the next item, which is the bylaw task and finish group and terms of reference. Oliver, if you could just remind us about the paper again and why we're doing it. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everybody. You may recall, by those who were at scrutiny meeting on the 15th of July, that Julie and I provided a short background on how bylaws are made, amended and revoked. And we also did a quick comparison with public spaces protection orders. Both types of legislation are intended to control and deter antisocial behaviour. The scrutiny committee on that date decided to form a task and finish group to look at the specific areas identified in the council motion that was passed last November. And really this evening's the task of this evening's committee is really twofold. The first is to agree the terms of reference for the task and finish group, and secondly to identify which members should be appointed to that group. In terms of the terms of reference, I've set out really in paragraph 2.1 of today's paper the three areas which the task and finish group been directed to look at. One is the enforcement, amendment and revocation of bylaws. The second is whether the council's existing bylaws, of about 15 of them, are fit for purpose and how they differ from public spaces protection orders. And thirdly, if no new bylaws are needed, then is there a more effective process for enforcing the issues they regulate? It's still for scrutiny committee tonight, Chair, to endorse those particular ones or decide they want the terms of reference to be something a little different. The second area, which was the recommended membership of the task and finish group, there were four members of this committee who expressed an interest in being part of that group, as councillors Ballard, Goodyear, Lamb and Parker. If it were to be those four members, then the task and finish group would be politically proportionate. It would be 2 members of the Liberal Democrat group and 2 members of the Conservative group. Beyond that, it's really for the, once appointed, it's for that task and finish group to decide when they want to meet, how many times they want to meet, and their timescale for reporting back to scrutiny committee with its recommendations. And once they do, it's for this wider committee to decide if they need to revise any of their recommendations before submitting them to full council for consideration. So I think, Chair, that probably summarises where we are at now, and Julie and I are here this evening to answer any further questions that your members may have.
Anybody? Councillor Lang.
Thank you very much for that. I just wondered how that achieves political proportionality, because it's 50-50, isn't it?
I spoke briefly to Nick before. Do you want to take that question, Nick? With the Chair's permission.
Yeah, sorry, through you, Chair. I ran it by Simon Russell and Sarah in Democratic Services, and they were happy with the proportionality. You had a particular issue with it?
I just think it's not proportional. If you look at the complexion of the council, it should be, you know, 2/3, 1/3, shouldn't it? And also it might cause political sort of schisms within it, as it's 50-50, and 2 of each. I'm just thinking, you know, maybe there needs to be another Lib Dem on that group, at least one.
Okay, if there is another member that wants to join the group, then I'm sure we can accommodate that. And then again, I'll check with Simon Russell, head of Democratic Services, that there's no issues with that. Again, it's down to the committee as a whole to, if you're happy with that, then I'm sure we can accommodate it.
Thank you.
If there is another member that is interested in joining in.
So, sorry, I'll come back to you in a minute, but I think the thought behind it was that you would still talk to other councillors. The 4 of you will be the small group, but the idea is that you take information from other councillors. I'll just pass over to Councillor Eubank for a second, and she's wanting to pass. I'll come back to you, Councillor.
Thank you, Councillor Shaw. If the group is agreeable, I'd be very happy to be part of it, because I think we all agree that we work together to get the best for the town, and that our colours are important when looking at things like vinyls. So if you're agreeable, then I'd be happy to do it.
Thank you very much. Councillor Lamb first, and then Councillor Goodyear.
Sorry, I didn't remember. No, I think that would be a good solution. Sorry.
I was going to make the point that not a decision making body, the Task and Finish group would just make recommendations at best, and decisions will be made elsewhere. So, to that end, I agree wholeheartedly with Councillor Eubank. We would happily, I'm sure, work for the good of the town, the borough as a whole, without the political schisms of any kind. But if it was decided to proceed in a more balanced way, perhaps 3 and 1 would adequately reflect the reality. But as I just said, I don't really see the need for it. It's fine.
So, just coming back to Yolanda, I have a question, particularly on your 2.1 and the terms of reference. I cannot see anything here that says we can actually, it says amendment and revocation, but it doesn't actually say additional ones, because there were 2 or 3 that I think people had mentioned at the last meeting. That could be considered. Do you feel adequately that that is covered in there, please?
Sorry, I wasn't quite clear on your point. So the first bullet point in 2.1 we talked about the potential terms of reference, refers to bylaw enforcement, amendment and revocation. So your point was?
Whether we feel that there might be some new ones that we wanted to bring in, and I don't think that covers it.
Point taken. I mean, again, it's for the committee tonight to decide what terms of reference they wish to put or sort of frame for the task and finish group. But yeah, whether they wish to consider one or more new bylaws is a legitimate term of reference, if that's what you want the task and finish group to do. Just the point I was going to make a few minutes ago was that, in my experience, orders, whether it's public spaces protection orders or bylaws, designed to combat antisocial behaviour, are not generally political issues. In all my time in local government, when I've dealt with Brighton and Hove City Council, where I was for 9 years, or here at Eastbourne, all the debate around whether we should or shouldn't have spaces protection orders or bylaws are not a political football. So I think the important thing for the committee is to appoint members with a strong interest in this area and perhaps got some particular experience and knowledge to bring to that task and finish group. So personally, my view is not to count, but personally, to sort of force it to be politically proportionate is not as important as in other areas. And I do take Councillor Goodyear's point that it's much more about the recommendations of the task and finish group come back to this committee, and it's this committee in its politically proportionate numbers to make the final recommendations to full council. So it's sort of all ensured, it's all constitutionally correct from that point of view.
Thank you. Councillor Lamb.
Thank you. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think the original discussion in council, I think I moved this resolution at some, or seconded it at some point in full council, was to look at the existing bylaws. And I don't think it's within our powers to actually introduce any. We could recommend new bylaws, but it's not within our powers in this committee or in the task force to do so. And about proportionality, I agree if that's the thing, but it does say further down that, this is proportionality, it obviously isn't, that's the point. So maybe we could just leave that out and say it doesn't meet the requirements of political proportionality because it doesn't need to. That's all. I'm just being pedantic about that. Sorry, Oliver.
No, thank you. I think that's useful to have that discussion. But certainly Simon Russell had agreed that the 2 and 2 would be fine. So I think over to you, Oliver, to beg your pardon, I'll just bring in Councillor Bowser.
Sorry, just one more extra thing. Do we need to be on the scrutiny committee permanently to be on this task and finish group? Because with all due respect, Councillor, that you were temporary. So I just wanted to confirm whether or not that was necessary, or whether or not 4 is enough, or we just carry on.
So I think the main thing was that 4 of the scrutiny people would carry on and be on the committee, but with a view that you would actually consult all the councillors and give them the opportunity to come back and say whether or not if they, it might just be a quick email to say, have you got any particular? So we'll just go ahead with the 4 of you. Simon will confirm and Oliver will lead. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, Chair. It attracts me around, yes. I think when the task and finish group meet, would ask for Julie to be with me because she's the sort of operational expert. And in guiding the group as to what measures are operationally and financially doable, Julie is your best person. I can certainly advise on the legal framework for bylaws and public spaces protection orders, but on the practical side of things, Julie Constrom is the better qualifying officer. Thank you.
So, Jim, did you want to come in?
Thank you. I just don't know where it says that it can only be members of the scrutiny committee. It doesn't say that anywhere, and I would have thought it would be open to all councillors who had an interest, as long as it's a manageable group. And I think it's a very good thing that Councillor Eubanks put her name forward, as obviously interested, and I think it would be a shame not to include her in the group.
Okay, so final few, let's move on with Julie Constrom as the person who will kind of give you guidance on what we're going to lead on. Oliver was going to suggest a couple of dates, so I think we'll leave you to get on with it, and perhaps there's a date that we're saying that might be best if we report on by the next meeting, so that would be good. Okay, thank you very much. Get out of the sun.
Right, thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. I think we have some technical problems, as you can tell. Over to you, please, Nick.
Apologies, Chair. Lee, as we were halfway through, well, not even halfway through your presentation or response, can we try on Teams, please?
Yeah? Can you hear me now?
You can, thank you.
Super. So if I can just come back on the points that I'd originally put my hand up on, and then I'm more than happy to take any further questions on grounds maintenance. First of all, Chair, thanks for inviting us along to talk about grounds maintenance, and thanks for Chris and Lee for introducing the item earlier. In relation to weed control, so the point that was being raised by Councillor Lamb earlier, weed control is the responsibility of the Upper Tier Authority, so Brighton and Hove in Brighton and Hove, and East Sussex County Council within East Sussex. And as I think had been mentioned, there is an agreement between East Sussex County Council and Eastbourne Borough Council for the Borough Council to deliver the responsibility of the Upper Tier East Sussex County Council in this regard. And as has already been mentioned, the question of affordability and actually the question of practical logistics of Eastbourne Borough Council in delivering the County Council's responsibility does take on a certain amount of responsibility for questions about weed control. And so I think for both of those issues of affordability and just the practical operation delivery, as Councillor Ballard just expressed, we will be looking into the future arrangement with East Sussex County Council to just understand what the next steps on that will be. So there'll be more information on that coming forward soon. And picking up on the points that I think Councillor Goodyear raised and Lee was responding to in relation to the ID Verdi contract, the Council's corporate procurement regulations stipulate that we need to go through certain processes to procure and to let contracts, and that is what happened in relation to the ID Verdi contract. Most contracts are let for a certain period with options to extend for a couple of years, a year, 2 years, whatever it might be. We have now reached the end of the length of that entire contract by the end of the 31st of March 2026. And our procurement regulations stipulate that we will need to, if we want to enter into another contract with ID Verdi or someone else, we would need to go out and procure that. But just a step before that is we are currently exploring what is the best way forward for us in relation to grounds maintenance, whether or not a